Welcome back to Same But Different, the show that nobody asked for, where we talk movies and TV and all other sorts of entertainment. I am Brody, and over here, or here, I don't know, we've got...
It's Derek.
It's Derek!
It's me.
How are you doing, Derek?
I'm doing all right.
Par for the course.
If you've liked what we've put out before and you're gonna like what we're going to do during this episode, if you're a fan of movies, just like the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and look forward to many, many more videos such as this that's going to fulfill all your movie loving needs.
So wholesome. Yay, movies! Let's go to work. This week's movie was Escape from New York, 1982. Kurt Russell action classic, apparently. Air quotes around the classic.
Oh no.
So we're gonna talk about those, or that rather, singular. And I believe you're first, Eric, this week.
Oh, yay! Snake eyes did not happen in the movie like I hoped it would.
Since we picked this, and for the last week, Derek keeps going, Snake eyes! But I'm almost certain that's from G.I. Joe.
Probably. I just remember that YouTube video, Power Thirst? We do have a snake in this, Snake Plissken. But he prefers to be called Snake, not Plissken.
Until the end.
Until the end, for some reason.
Like, you should know. Like, you just changed your mind.
I've got a lot more. I got a lot more bad than I do good.
Give me the bad.
Giving you the bad. Here we go. But I have to differentiate between like where it lost points and where it doesn't lose points. This first point doesn't necessarily lose points because a lot of movies do this. Still do this. I hate opening credits that just are on a black screen. I hate.
It's like 5 minutes.
It's so long. It's so unnecessary. Opening credits in general, I think, are kind of unnecessary, but they're way better if you have them over top of not just visuals, because visuals can be boring too, visuals that are progressing or giving you some sort of information.
Final Destination.
Final Destination is a great example. Even if it's playing over top of a scene, credits are fine. If credits are playing over top of useless information or just a black screen, get rid of them. That's so dumb. Off the hop, I was like, I'm bored.
Talk to Disney for their first 4 decades of making movies.
Honestly. Assholes. My initial thought in the movie was it takes a long time for anything to actually happen. The opening was a lot of long tracking shots of just the military base, prison, the sky, the water, things. Even those people trying to escape the island and then getting blown up in the boat. Like, we knew nobody's allowed to leave. It evolved into the entire movie where there was plenty of scenes where nothing was happening. There were plenty of scenes that were just way too long, not giving us any new information of just maybe walking around, standing around, camera tracking. I understand that it was supposed to be giving off some, like, ambiance and vibe, and John Carpenter is coming off of, Halloween and maybe simultaneously filming The Thing. So his atmosphere filmmaking is definitely present, but I just don't think that kind of atmosphere was necessary for this kind of movie. This movie was an hour and a half and a bit. It could have actually only been an hour 15.
I honestly, there was a point where I was like, this could have been a 40-minute short film.
100%.
Just fact.
100%. And it would have been better too. Again, doesn't lose points because a lot of movies do this, but I hate when when the hero sits down and like some higher up authoritative figure reads off their list of accolades to them. It's such a cliche and it happens all the time and it's so stupid. Why are you reading what they already know to them? Overall, the movie was entirely too dark. It could use with another cinematographer to light up some spaces. The few scenes that they were in a lit room, it looked really nice. And it wasn't even like artistically dark. It's like they just forgot to add some light. It was weird. I thought it was super dumb. Everyone knew who Snake Plissken was. I thought the line of like, I thought you were dead, that was cool. That was a running through line of the movie. And I thought that was really funny and cool. Everyone knowing who he is. And then he gets to the President of the United States. And he says, who are you? How? No.
The president doesn't know anything. That is just social commentary for how dumb the president is. Out of the loop.
No way. I would not buy that for $1. Not a chance. Terrible placement for a tattoo. Again, doesn't lose points.
Oh, so bad, though. The tattoo looked horrible.
Tattoo
Give me
looked like
a
garbage.
snake tattoo covering my entire belly. What?
And it would just... If it was his whole chest, sure. But it was like halfway down his abdomen and it disappeared.
Into his waistband. Yeah, it looked dumb.
It looked so
dumb.
stupid.
And did he get that because he's called Snake, or is he called Snake because he got that?
Oh, great question. Wish we dived into that a little more.
Chicken or the egg?
I didn't care about a single character in this movie. Anybody could die. Who cares? And then, at the end when he was just like, call me Plissken. I was like, what?
I know. He spends the whole movie. He is Snake. That's the point. And then what? He has a bad day? Like, is that he retired? I don't know what that was.
Maybe because, like, all his crime and criminal record has been washed away. So he's like, I don't need to be Snake anymore. I'm Plissken.
Maybe. I gave it a 10 out of 10. I don't know what you're talking about.
Here we go. Same but different.
No, I did not, by the way.
I do love John Carpenter for the fact that he directs and he composes his films. I think that's really cool. When Snake gets dropped off for the first time and no attention is brought to it, it seems like nothing is happening, but he gets dropped off and he walks away in cuffs, and then you don't see him for another 10 minutes. I thought that was a really cool and subtle way to introduce your main character. I absolutely loved his whisper gristle voice. I thought it was so 80s and oozing with cheese and goodness. I thought it was so cool. I'm Snake Plissken. I thought
that was a pretty good impression.
I thought it was so cool. I love apocalyptic movies. Not saying I love this movie, but I do love apocalyptic movies where a new society is built from the ground up with people who aren't necessarily mentally stable. I think that's really cool. The set design was really awesome. The apocalyptic streets and torn down buildings and fires and flipped cars and stuff like that. I thought the production and set design was really cool. So there's that. And I already said I loved the I Thought You Were Dead line throughout the movie. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my good.
Not a long list of good.
No, it's basically music, his voice, set design, and that one line throughout the movie. I had a worse time with this than Nausicaa.
Really?
I did.
Wow. Okay.
If not the same, I guess. This can also have a 4. I'm giving it a 4.
4.
Yep. Escape from New York.
All right.
If it's below a 5, it's a thumbs down for me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. Let's hop into mine then. Mine doesn't have a good or bad. I just talked. First of all, I want to say that I was under the impression this movie was going to be a campy, cheesy 80s flick, like Big Trouble in Little China, or apparently, I did some research, apparently the sequel, it does what Boondock Saints did. You know, the first one's very drab, and then the second one amps up the comedy and the action and makes it... And that's what I thought I was going to get from this one. So I was a little bit disappointed, because this was much more of an attempt of a serious 80s action flick, which I think, given the content of this movie, is what held it back from being a true cult classic. People know this movie, but this isn't one that people talk about. This isn't one that people will be like, oh, cool, let's talk about this. Nobody cared. And I think a lot of that has to do with the tone they built around this movie. John Carpenter already had huge hits under his belt, you know? Like Assault on Precinct 13, The Fog, Halloween. I can't fathom the reason he sacrificed so much budget in this movie. I think this movie needed a big budget. The imagination and action they were trying to portray got squandered because of the lack of budget. Carpenter used the lack of budget very well. As much as I didn't like it, and I agree with you, the dark look of this movie, I don't think was they forgot to turn the lights on. I think that was probably very expensive lighting to make it look that way, which was a mistake, but... The beautiful cityscape and the sets, expensive. Honestly, the special effects may be few and far between, but were pretty good for the early 80s. There were some really cool action scenes. The script was laced with, some black humor. There was a great main theme. There was a lot of good where all of this money went to. It didn't allow the final product to have any of that beauty show through because it didn't feel like it had a budget. So I feel like I just talked in a gigantic circle, but that's kind of how I feel about this. Kurt Russell did a fine job. Snake is a really cool character, but I did feel like he was just... Actually, this point's going to get elongated. I feel like he was trying to do his best Clint Eastwood impression, which leads me into... I felt like I was watching a Western movie. A futuristic Western.
Interesting.
Is what I felt, which really took me out. As you know, I don't really like Westerns. It had all the same beats. Kind of like I said, he was very Clint Eastwoody. It just felt like a Western movie, but without the cowboys and horses and desert. The movie set up this really cool premise of Snake being on a time limit, and then essentially forgot about it until the very end of the movie when they defibrillated his neck or whatever. If they played with that a little bit more... the anxiety of the time running out, but his character was too cool and slick to care. And that, again, don't introduce this awesome premise to just have it take a back seat. I would have much rather, even if they got the, arm or the stuff out of him at like 18 hours left, it would have been a better movie than saving it for 5 seconds left just because, oops, we wrote this in, let's end it. The beginning of this movie is dreadfully slow. And the slow does leak in later as well. The action is far too spaced out. Like, there is some good action, but it's hard to even call this an action flick. Snake's not in it for the first 20 minutes of the movie. It's boring. It kind of hits a stride in the middle where I was like, okay, we'll see. And then it ends completely mediocre. So it just didn't feel like an action flick. And the bad guys were all just one-dimensional convicts. There wasn't anything gripping. I feel like this movie had so much potential and it all fell flat.
This movie is a prime example of a movie that could do with a remake.
Yes. Yes, 100%. Didn't have fun with this. Found myself very, very bored. I gave it a 3 out of 10.
Yo, that's so low.
It is quite low, especially because of how much good I had to say about it. But all that good stuff was not used because the overall plot and movie suffered so much.
See, this is why I need people to go back and re-rate. Rewatch and re-rate.
Well, the weirdest thing is Big Trouble in Little China has a 7.1.
What?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. Let's be gone with this atrocity of a movie and pick our next one. How about that? We have here The Hat of Destiny.
We have to announce that the next one, I won't be here.
The next one's going to be a solo Brody episode.
The next one's going to be Brody only. Brody's spinoff episode. Some of the best episodes of TV are character-centric solo episodes. So...
I'm also going to be the one editing it, so expect maybe a little bit different. I might have Derek film a quick little video where he is maybe on a beach somewhere. Yeah, just a quick 5-minute review that I can just insert. That would be cool. Let's pick the movie and see if it's even one. You might be able to opt out of a good one or a bad one.
I really, really hope it's not Doctor Strangelove because I've always wanted to see it.
You could just watch it. You know that, right?
There's life outside the show? What?
Here we go. It is okay. This is a movie I have heard of. I don't know anything about. Deep Impact.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
Do you know? So you want to watch it?
Morgan Freeman, Elijah Wood, as a young kid.
This is apocalyptic, but not post-apocalyptic. Just to get that out there now. This is about the apocalypse about to happen. A comet is plummeting towards Earth, and I guess Robert Duvall needs to save the day. I don't really know. Deep Impact.
Yes, not the porno. not that movie, you perverts.
No, that's disgusting. That stars Robert Duvall too, though, right?
Yeah, and Morgan Freeman.
Oh, I'm in now. All right, and that brings us to our top 5 action movie heroes. There's a little bit of a gray area here where action adventure ends and where action begins. So really, this was kind of just up in the air. Use your best judgment. Did you want to go first, Eric?
I would love to. Thank you so much, Brody. Top 5 action heroes in movies. Number 5, Celine from Underworld. Had to throw Kate Beckinsale in there.
That is a solid choice in a movie I completely forgot about.
There you go. Number 4. This is where the kung fu might be a little kung fu-y. Uma Thurman in Kill Bill.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, a large influence behind the Kill Bill movies is kung fu.
The Bride was on my top 10 before I started cutting things off, so I would count it.
cutting things off like the bride cuts off limbs.
Or scalps.
Or scalps. It somehow went like around the brain, but
I know, ridiculous. Yeah. Well.
Number 3, Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible series. He needs to be on this list. And if he's not on yours, shame on you. Number 2, the one, Neo from The Matrix. Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Best action portrayal.
See, I thought you were going to have John Wick, Constantine, Neo, Speed, Point Break. I thought it was all going to be Keanu.
It could be. Number 1 action hero of all time. John McClane from the Die Hard
What?
series.
No! You like that movie?
Love. Die Hard 1, Die Hard 3, Die Hard 2, Die Hard 4, and Die Hard 5. That's the order.
That was your order?
Yeah.
Ooh, I switched 2 and 4, but same order other than that.
Okay, fair enough.
1, 3, 4, 2, 5.
4 just bugged me because that's when they decided to not be rated R anymore.
That was Derek's top 5. We can move on to mine now. This was a hard one for me. Like I said, I had over 10. I think I had to make some really tough cuts. So
I'm usually the one texting Brody, struggling with my list.
Brody's top 5 action heroes. Let's go. Number 5, Wesley from Wanted. James McAvoy from Wanted.
I knew Wanted was going to make your list.
Wanted is arguably in my top 5 action movies ever. I love that movie, but Wesley himself isn't the strongest, action hero to pick. Number 4, Derek was just saying how much he loved this movie. I have Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China.
Really? He made your top 5?
Dude, this character is amazing. It is Kurt Russell's best performance, even though he thinks it's Snake Plissken. Number 3, I also have The Matrix, but Trinity. I think Trinity, in my opinion, is a much cooler character than Neo.
Dodge this.
Honestly, I still quote that to this day, even when it has nothing to do with what's happening. Number 2, I am kind of surprised this didn't make your list. Chev Chelios, Crank.
I thought about it.
Crank is so much fun. Chev Chelios is an amazing character. Deserves my number 2 spot. At this point, you're realizing Ethan Hunt is not on my list. That brings me to number 1.
I wasn't realizing, and now I do. That's shameful.
Ethan Hunt was a contender. Again, Ethan Hunt was on my top 10, but these are Brody's favorites. I enjoy the Mission Impossible movies, but they've never been number 1. Surprise, John McClane, Die Hard.
Let's go!
There's no question about it. There's no question about it. It's a wonderful, wonderful action movie. Really brings the spirit home for Christmas. Fight me in our comments right now. If you don't think it's a Christmas movie, bring it on. Bring it on. It takes place at Christmas time. The soundtrack has largely Christmas music. It is about a father trying to be the best version of himself and get home to his family and save the day.
For Christmas.
It's a Christmas
He's bought
movie.
his daughter a Christmas bear present. He kills a guy and says, ho, 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 now I have a machine gun.
Here's the clincher for me, and this is the point I always make. If you don't think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, you don't think Home Alone is a Christmas movie, and that's insane to me. We should have some beers and watch Big Trouble in Little China sometime.
Dude, literally took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say that.
Oh, no!
What?
I had the job of collecting some news this week. First and foremost, and I think, Derek, you're going to have a lot to say about this one.
Oh, man.
Creature Commandos has officially been cast. This is the new DC franchise about military superheroes. It's another DC franchise I know nothing about, but I know people are excited. Most notably, Frank Grillo, Alan Tudyk, and David Harbour. Now, that's an amazing trio. There were some other actors on the list, but those were the A-listers, if you can consider Alan Tudyk an A-lister. And that's a good cast. I'm always at least interested in looking into this sort of stuff when it starts, circulating. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as voice acting goes, Alan Tudyk is definitely A-list.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love him.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Creature Commandos. Never heard of them until they were announced, to be honest. James Gunn is awesome at that. He took the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's taken other C-list or D-list characters and made superstars out of them. So I trust him with whatever he's doing. It is animated, which is great. But I really wanted to see Frank Grillo brought into live action realm. And initially, I was kind of bummed about that. But I remembered that James Gunn said he also wants to have a streamlined DC Media universe where the same voice actors also play those characters in live action versions as well.
James Gunn has a lot on his plate. He's got his fingers in a lot of pots.
So many pots.
So many pots. Up next, Scream Queens Unite. Mia Goth cast in the new Blade movie. This is fantastic casting, if you ask me. She's already a ringer in these modern horror movies. She fits the bill of, hopefully, a vampire, if that's not rude to say. She fits that bill very, very well. I'm looking forward to that. Give me all the Blade news. Give me Blade. I'm so excited.
Blade's slowly but surely coming along. It ran into a lot of production issues, like losing a director and rewriting a script. Rumor has it that she's going to be cast as Dracula's daughter, Lilith.
So, well, that makes a lot of sense. I'm very curious what they'll do with the Blade movie. If it's just going to be a remake of the first movie, or if they're going to grab from source material and make their own movie.
Yeah,
or...
I don't think they'll remake the movie. No.
Give me a Wesley Snipes cameo about how he was like, he's like this old, decrepit, he's the vampire hunter that used to be the big vampire hunter, and our new Blade has to go to him to get advice or train or something.
Like Chris Christopherson's character in the original Blade movie?
Exactly. Well, that might be too big a role, but that would be cool.
That would be so cool.
I was thinking also too big a role, but more like the Phil to the Hercules.
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
Another thing you're going to be really excited about, I think.
Is all this news for me?
No.
Okay.
No, it's news for the people.
Right.
The John Wick spinoff, titled The Continental, has officially been announced and got a poster. Based on the poster, it's a glass of, I think maybe bourbon, alcohol of some sort. And the tagline just says, "Prepare for check-in." And that's all we see. So, you know, an action movie in a hotel. Cool. Or series? I'm not even sure what it is.
So, fun fact, a teaser trailer came out.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Very
a
teaser.
poster and a teaser trailer were released for John Wick's The Continental.
Sorry, the audio cut out there. It was definitely in there, guys. He definitely put that in there.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know anything about The Continental. I'm not sure if it's a character from the John Wick series that's getting a spinoff, or if it's just a movie in the same universe. I don't know anything about it.
The Continental is the hotel in the John Wick franchise where all the assassins can gather and stay and heal up and suit up and armor up. That is like Switzerland. It's safe ground. You're not allowed.
It's a safe house.
Yeah,
okay.
You're not allowed to be touched there. Everybody interacts very politely and converses, and it takes place in the 70s. The only tentative thing I have about it is that it's not John Wick.
Yeah.
It's not Keanu Reeves. So who do you have? It's got to be an ensemble kind of multiple character story, because you can't overshadow the John Wick, the Baba Yaga, the boogeyman. You can't do it.
Maybe it's going to have the great-great-grandfather of the dog from the first movie.
Oh, please do.
I don't know how they'll explain that. Just to talk about, well, actually, I'm a dog. Oh, boy. Moving things along. Gremlins, The Secret of the Mogwai, got a first trailer. This is not Gremlins 3. I don't know if you've heard about this, Derek, but before anyone gets their hopes up, this is not Gremlins 3. It is a cartoon series, and it is a prequel about the origins. I think it all takes place back wherever they actually came from. Animation looks cool. It is done by the same director as the originals. So
What? Joe Dante?
Yep, Joe Dante's created and directing it.
No. I heard
Yep,
it was producing. I heard Steven Spielberg was also producing, but I didn't know he was like creative controlling it.
Worst comes to worst, or best case scenario, either or works in this scenario. This just gets the ball rolling for Gremlins 3, because that's a cartoon series. Sure, that's cute. I want more, Gizmo in my life. I just hope it's at least good enough to bring people back into liking and talking about Gremlins, And then really lastly, this is sort of lighter and funnier news, but I just wanted to talk about Shazam 2 really quickly.
I watched it recently.
I've not seen it yet. I just wanted to laugh for a second about how it has ended its theatrical run with a lower box office rating than the Captain Underpants movie.
Oh no.
Which was like one of the biggest flops ever. Captain Underpants, the first movie or whatever it was called. That was it, because nobody saw it. This did worse.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, Super Mario is breaking records for being the largest opening for an animated movie ever. So, how was Shazam 2? Is it at least better than everyone's making it out to be?
Yeah, it's not crap.
I didn't think it was going to be crap.
It's entertaining.
Too harsh.
The CGI is fantastic. And it's entertaining. It's definitely a popcorn flick. However, it's sequelitis, right? You immediately want to compare it to the first one, and the first one had an amazing origin story. It had amazing morals and family values about choosing your own family and choosing to be the person you want to be. Whereas this one, by the end of it, I felt like it was just made to sell toys. No, there wasn't much substance to it at all. So I see why it did so poorly, because there wasn't anything to gain from it. But it was entertaining.
One of my biggest gripes with that movie, and I liked the first one, I really did, and I haven't seen the second one, but everyone, especially his friend, I don't know any of their names, but the one who's Adam Brody as a kid, they're so well casted, except for Zachary Levi.
Yes, exactly.
I love Zachary Levi, but he does not look or act the same as his child counterpart, and the rest of them are perfect. And that's not where you want to drop the ball with your star.
Yeah, they tried to align it a little bit more in this one. It's curious though. I wonder who they cast first, the adult versions or the kid versions.
That's a great question.
Chicken or the egg, you know?
That, unless you have anything, that about wraps it up for news. Just a few headlines of the week and all that jazz. All right, cool. Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of Same But Different. Please like, subscribe, comment, all of that jazz helps us, and it'll notify you guys when another video is out. So let's all watch Deep Impact for next week, and it's just gonna be me here. So please give me some love next week, because I'm nervous.
And I'll see you all next time with a tan, hopefully.
Oh, shoot. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See ya. Fight me in our comments right now. If you don't think it's a Christmas movie, bring it on. Bring it on.